Okay, so it's like July in Alberta and I'm absolutely freezing. It's very cold out here. It feels like fall. Like it feels like this is how it should feel when you're starting to make pumpkin spice everything and drink tea. Like I'm drinking tea in the summer. What's in my tea, by the way? Mm, okay. Put a tree branch in there. It's all good. Anyway, it's been quite a challenging 2 weeks for pretty much everybody I know. And there's like these recurring themes that are coming up. And it makes me want to talk about them in case, maybe I can help somebody else through it. There's a lot of things that I've been through in my life that I've navigated over and over and over again. And because of that, um, I feel like it's given me this awareness that I can hopefully shine a light on some dark places for other people. And so I really want to talk today about um, the myth of good and bad choices. Is there really such thing as good or bad choices? We're all in this earth school learning, and each path brings us towards growth and a type of lesson. Um, and on our path, we're all just seeking to be loved and accepted and understood. And sometimes we open doors that bring us down not very desirable paths and that we regret opening them, even if at the time the choice felt really good and felt really right, um, or it felt like the right way to go. And sometimes if things don't work out the way that we thought, we classify those decisions as bad decisions, right? But are they really bad decisions? Because every single thing that you experience in your life is showing you more about who you are and what you want. And it allows you to get really clear about where you're going and why. And so if you open a wrong door and there's something behind that, well, there's just no way that you didn't learn something from that. And so something that I always do is I try to find the silver lining in literally every single thing that happens to me in life. There's only so much I can control. There's only so many um, choice points. And in life, a lot of people are also um intertwined with decisions that we make, right? And so I just think anytime I look back to anything that I've viewed as wrong or bad, genuinely molded me into a better person somehow, made me stronger and made me more resilient. And, people always say to me, they're like, why are you so calm about everything? And my response is like, well, I literally have been handed the dumbest shit in my life over and over and over and over again. Like I really think that there's not much I haven't gone through in my life, and I'm only 35. And so at this point, kind of what happens is like when something goes wrong, I just laugh at this point. Like sometimes the things that happen to me are so insane that I'm just like, what else am I gonna do? Like all I can really do is deal with things as they come up, make decisions with the information and the tools and the ability and the position that I have, and go from there. And I think that like whenever I'm in a lesson, it's because, and I'm not getting out of it, it's because I haven't learned the lesson, right? And it's like, this is my university course, semester one, and semester one isn't done until I pass the whole thing. I do the whole semester and then I pass my tests, right? I finish the exam and I complete it. And so it's like sometimes we want the whole puzzle without these little puzzle pieces. And it's like, sorry, um, there's more information that you need, more things to experience before you can, have the whole puzzle and before this semester is done. And so I just look at everything like Life University. Okay, well, right now I'm in a really uncomfortable lesson, a new mystery to figure out. And, that's just what you do. You just You survive, and during your survival, you try to thrive. You try to find joy and peace in everything, in the little things. And I think that's another thing that keeps me peaceful when people are asking, like, why are you always just fine with whatever happens? I'm not fine. It's just I have structured my life in a way that no matter what happens to me, I'm okay because I know that I have the strength to get through anything because I have been through everything and I have conquered it or I've just gotten through it. And I've never allowed anything to get me down for too long. And like I said, I find a silver lining. I figure out what I learned and how I grew through that. And that allows me to move on from the horrible things that, go on in life. And then I use that wisdom to make better choices in my life, to go further in my life. And um, I also channel them into something that gives me meaning and purpose. Like I write poetry and I write blogs and I do videos and I help other people and you know, um, I find a way to make purpose and meaning out of it. And then, like I said, I find happiness in the little things. I live out in the country, as you can see behind me here, in a cabin and with the dogs. And I mean, I try to just live a simple life. I have tea in the morning, I journal, I rest a lot, I cook a lot, I pick berries, I garden, I spend most of my time outside. Like, I'm genuinely in this spot quite often. I can sit and stare at the sky or the sunset or the stars or the birds for hours and hours and hours and just get lost in that. And so I think if you can build yourself some type of foundation that feels authentic to you and that feels good, and that holds you and really supports you and gives you this foundation and stable ground, that it kind of becomes this landing space that it's like, okay, no matter what's happening to me in my life, I feel safe and I feel soothed in this container that I've built for myself. And so for me, environment's very important. And the people I'm around, the things I listen to, the things I watch, the food I put into my body, and the decisions I make with my time in a day. Um, I really try to just gear my life towards as much peace and as little amount of stress as possible. But I mean, life is incredibly stressful. Being a human is incredibly messy, and you're never going to escape those things completely. But you can set up systems and put them in place so that, it lightens the load and lessens the blow a little bit, right? And so, anyways, going back to the whole original meaning for this video was just, that good and bad choices are just a myth, okay? Um, if I was your big sister and you had just made a bad choice that led you to some kind of consequence, which has happened a lot as a big sister, really. But if you had made a choice that you didn't feel good about or that created suffering for yourself or another person or many people or your life, then wouldn't I give my sibling grace? Like, wouldn't I give a child grace? Wouldn't I be like, you're a human, man, you're just learning. And like, I know for a lot of us, especially me, I I always felt growing up like I was given this ship with no map, no compass, and no safety first aid kit is how it felt. Like it always just felt like I was left to figure out life on my own and to just like figure out and chart my own course. And I didn't really have anyone to go to for the hard things. And I always felt alone and I always just like wished that I had known more. And it was always like, oh, I always grew up, I've made so many mistakes. I have made so many mistakes in my life. And I would just punish myself and think, well, I wish somebody had told me, or I wish I was taught, or I wish I was shown, and maybe I wouldn't be in this situation. But I mean, I was in this situation, right? And it's like, if God intended for me to have the guidance and support and structure that maybe my soul was looking for, I mean, maybe that my human was looking for, maybe, I wouldn't learn as much, right? So like on some soul level, I know deep down that, my struggles and difficulties that I come up against are, you know, something that's put there to help me become more of myself and to um, learn and grow and self-realize, right? And so, whatever journey I'm on, which seems to be that of supporting others, I had to go through everything first, right? I've had to go through every single life thing that you could ever imagine and then some, so that I could speak on it and that I could help people and I could offer them some light in some dark places when they were going through it. I certainly don't have all of life figured out by no means, but you know how I found forgiveness for my mistakes and how I've made something good out of them is like you can screw something up and you can make a wrong choice or wrong turn or do something stupid, but there's no like lasting change that's going to happen. No true change will happen from shame, right? It comes from awareness. And so you can say with awareness, like, okay, that path didn't lead me to where I wanted to go. And now I need to understand why and what I learned from it and what I can do differently and what within me, you know, even put me in that situation or cause some things, right? And how can I like replace my behaviors or belief systems or discernment or boundaries differently so that that doesn't happen again, right? That's something that, allows you to take accountability and embody the lessons that you learned from a place of awareness, not a place of shame. Like, you don't need to be like, oh, I'm so stupid and I always mess things up and I'm such a piece of garbage and like I always make the wrong choice. It's like, no, just grow from it. Okay. Give yourself the grace of being human. Give yourself the permission to be messy and just learn from what you did. If you don't learn and you don't change your actions next time, you're not helping yourself or anyone. But if you take that and you make different choices next time with that wisdom that you have, with that life experience that you have, you will get so much further ahead. And there will be no reason for you to hold on to anger or unforgiveness for yourself or shame in your life because you would never shame someone for trying, right? It's like if someone was a drug addict and they went to rehab and they got clean and they were sober for 30 years, wouldn't you just be like, good for you? Like, that's amazing. You're not going to sit there and shame them every day for what they did before. No, that person decided to go to rehab. They decided to figure out why they do the things that they do. And then they decided to make a different choice. And then they made different choices every single day that allowed their life circumstances to become better, right? And to not self-sabotage and lead themselves down a dark path. So every situation is really no different. Different scenarios, yeah, but it's just forgive yourself and forgive others for the shitty things that they do if they have changed behavior. And so um that's really the only thing that you can control. And so, have a place of self-compassion and encouragement for yourself instead of beating on yourself. Shh, because that doesn't get you anywhere, right? And so yeah, just forgive that you're completely flawed as a human being. I don't know, like if whenever we're making a choice, do we really know what's actually gonna transpire from that? For every single choice that you make, there's gonna be a positive and negative reaction, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're making a good choice, a loving choice, there will be a positive and negative reaction for that choice. And it's gonna ripple out into the universe, into people, into circumstances, into environments, no matter what. It's like if you accept a job or don't accept a job, that ripples out because now it changes your circumstance, your family circumstance, if you have kids or whatever. And then it changes the circumstances of that environment and the place. And now they hire someone different. It completely changes the trajectory of the web that everybody is existing in together, right? And so it's like each one of our collective choices does affect other people. And all you can do, I think, is make a choice that feels peaceful and that feels empowering and that feels loving and that makes you feel good. Like sometimes choices come with anxiety, and I think it's our job to discern if that anxiety is a warning flag telling us that we shouldn't go down this path because it's not gonna lead somewhere good, or is it anxiety of like the unknown and the fear of the unknown and just having to go out of your comfort zone. That one's really tricky. That one I still struggle with sometimes. But it always comes down to like my intuition and my heart and just if I feel peace or not about a decision. Like, am I excited or am I anxious? Right? Is a good question to ask yourself. So you'll never really know the full weight or extent of each door that you open, what's behind it. When we open a door, we just kind of see what's in the room, but we don't know what's in the boxes or on the shelves or in the corner. We don't know what's under behind the walls. We don't know what's above the ceiling. We don't know what's in the attic, right? And so not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes things look really good on the outside, and given our circumstances and the information we had at the time, it seems like a good choice. And sometimes it can um lead you into rooms that turn out to be nightmares or turn out to be an escape room, right? And it's just in every situation, relationships, jobs. Like there's so many times I've seen like videos on like people who were married to someone and they really didn't know who they were because 10 years later they turn out to be like a child abuser or things like that. And you just really never know. You really never know what's going to happen. And life is notorious for throwing plot twists left, right, and center all the time. I feel like I have one every week. Um, but isn't that what makes it interesting? Isn't that what keeps you on your toes? Isn't that what helps like in some ways? Like I know for me, anytime I'm backed into a corner, or backed up against a wall or I'm in some kind of like tension is generally when I kind of like find new parts of myself. It's almost like sometimes the things that break me build me and I hate them at the time and I just want to get out of them. But I know that anytime I'm sitting there in a shitty situation, I'm like, I just want this to be over. I just want this to be done. I just want to get out of this. I always know that that's me trying to avoid the lesson and avoid the accountability and avoid the growth. So I just sit in the mud and I just sit in the middle of a storm and just let it roll. And I'm like, all right, let's go. I can get through it. I always do. And I always say, like, the evidence of that is that you did, right? You've gotten through every hard thing and hopefully have grown and learned from it, right? So, anyways, just be curious instead of cruel to yourself and to other people and forgive yourself for the decisions that you've made. All you can do is make better choices with the information that you have and to um, add building blocks onto your life that bring you more happiness, more peace, more joy, and make decisions that help you be a little bit more of yourself every single day. And, to have that self forgiveness and self compassion. Anyway, I'm going to go and get another tea because mine is very cold now and it's freezing out here. So, anyway, I hope that helped in some way, and I will chat with you later. Bye.